Welcome to this edition of Utah Libraries Have You Covered? Recording here at the State Library. I am Jeri Openshaw, along with our producer and board operator, Jason Powers. Hi, Jason. We are here today with David Wicai. He works at the same department we're all in here at CCE, Culture and Community Engagement. We've come a long ways. We've been other things. We moved from Department of Heritage and Arts to this new title.
Yeah, I think before that it was...
DCED.
Community and Economic Development. And then
Right.
I think it was Community and Culture even before that one.
Was.
So DCC.
DCC,
So
you're absolutely right.
Gone through some changes. I wasn't here for those first two.
I was.
Yeah.
Through the Olympics.
You've seen it all, yeah.
I've seen it all.
But thank you for having me today. It's a real
Thanks
pleasure
for coming.
being here with
This
you.
is just great. And so let me tell you guys, this is his title. I had to write it down. He is the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Collaboration and Project Manager for our Utah Museum.
That's correct.
Where do we start? How do we break this down? What do you do?
Oh, well, so my role right now is with our CCE administrative team. A lot of it is support to what all of our divisions do, all 9 of our divisions. Strategic initiatives is a very vague and ambiguous term for project management and really anything and anything that comes our way within the department. As you know, over the past many years, we've had special projects or initiatives that have been funneled through our department, through the legislature, things
Right.
like Thrive 125,
Right.
the Golden Spike celebration. I had the pleasure of managing the project Redesign the State Flag over the last few years.
That was a project.
That was a roller coaster. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Love the experience. Obviously, it's a historic project for the state, and we had an amazing team too that worked on that, and we were proud of how broad it got around the state and how many people engaged. And then, currently, in terms of a strategic project or special project with the Museum of Utah. So the Museum of Utah is going to be housed within the Utah Historical Society and will be up at the Capitol. So I'm not necessarily part of the UHS team. I'm just kind of serving them as project manager when it comes to, rallying our team on exhibit development, budget management, architectural coordination, kind of wide-ranging, and keeps me a little separated from the inner workings of that team, but love being a part of that. It's another historic project for the state.
Good deal. Let's go back a bit and talk about the 9 divisions in our department, just as a point of reference.
Yeah. So here we go. You're putting me on the spot.
This
You're
is
going
a
to test me.
test.
Here we go. I'm going to get this. So we've got the Division of Arts and Museums. We've got Multicultural Affairs. We've got Native Affairs, or our Division of Indian Affairs. We've got the Pete Suazo Athletic Commission. We have the Utah State Library. We have the STEM Action Center. We have the Utah Historical Society. You Serve Utah, which is our commission on volunteerism. The State Historic Preservation Office.
Historic.
So I always get that one. Sorry, Shippo.
Sorry, Shippo.
I love y'all. They were kind of the most recent separation from with the Historical Society, but do amazing work. What an awesome team. They bring cultural site stewards from all over the state to manage cultural sites and take care of them and do a lot of great outreach work.
True.
So, and the collaboration piece of my title is fairly new, but we firmly believe within our department that a lot of the work we do, although it's somewhat different, there are so many overlaps, right? We all serve a lot of the same people, same communities. A lot of communities have libraries. They have arts and cultural organizations, historic organizations, cultural sites. They all cherish and value volunteerism. So I think it's just something we want to lean into and see, where those overlaps are, how we better serve the people of Utah through the work that we do, and work better together, because I think it's more fun that way, and
we are fun, and I
it's
remember,
more efficient.
And I remember it was Governor Huntsman, I believe, who called us the heart of Utah, our department.
Yeah, you're right, and I think Herbert felt that way too.
Exactly.
Governor Cox right now says a lot of those same things, that we are the heart and soul of state
Soul,
government.
that's right.
I think every one of us who works in this department believes in that. It's the reason we wanted to be a part of this department, and we're trying to build a really strong and connected family within our department, that we all get along and know each other and do good work together.
And we do, and that's why we stick around, and we do work together. We do like working together. We like each other for the most part, and that's why we stay. Why I've been here for so long.
Yeah, how many years has it been for you now?
I don't remember, but 20-something.
Yeah. I hit 10 in just a few months, I think.
Yeah.
So it's Yeah,
wow.
It's been
Time flies.
Been a fun ride. Yeah,
it is fun.
And I love it here. So.
And there's lots of different programs
Yeah.
to take advantage of.
For sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of great communities around the state that we serve, and the people we serve we care a lot about. So I think that's ultimately what it's for. We love being here and doing the work, but it's ultimately for the people of Utah, and I think a lot of us would call the people we serve and work with on a regular basis outside of our department friends and family as well. So I think what we believe in and what we do expands beyond just working within state government.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about how your role plays into all of that, how you work with each of us.
Obviously, I just mentioned that collaboration role, and we're still defining that. We have re-energized and brought back our employee engagement committee, so we've got representatives from every division who are a part of that, and we get together and think about ways to just bring ourselves together. Whether it's a service project, we launched a great service project in serving the Bountiful Food Pantry.
That's
in September of last year. We did another one here at State Library.
That's right.
With Joe and his team, and that was really fulfilling. And a lot of people get together for that. This committee also helps plan our gatherings and just our holiday parties or summer gatherings, where often we'll bring in friends and family, partners, spouses, whatever it may be, to experience that with us. But it's fairly new. But the behind the scenes part of my role too is I manage IT and IT integration and projects for our department.
And there's always something there.
There's always something there.
Always a problem.
It ranges from troubleshooting, finding out when our network's down and working with DTS, our Department of Technology Services, to understanding what some of the needs are of each division and how tech solutions can be integrated to make their work more efficient and broader reaching. So that is something that I kind of grew into. I didn't go to school for IT or tech, but I think I described that work a lot, just about knowing state government process, who to contact, who to work with, and who to pick up the phone and call. So I love doing that. And the reason I do love doing it is because it does keep me connected to everybody in the department. I think at one point over the course of any given calendar year, I'll get an email or a message from somebody, whether it's help me fix this, or I have this idea, I'd love to integrate it into our work. And here we go. We're off and running and we're working together. And so that also helps keep me connected to the work everyone does, to also find efficiencies, or to say, hey, you serve, I don't know if you knew this, but the State Library now has a podcast studio, right? And they want to expand and work with our agencies, and they've got these resources, and SHPO's using ArcGIS to map out cultural sites around the state so people can access them. And I think a lot of other agencies can see what the possibilities are and work together and be like, hey, you know what? I think I can use that resource or integrate that tool to the work that we do. And so I think that's where kind of I fit in.
Right. And not to mention, too, that we're here for Utah residents. And I think, our hope, our plan is to put this out on, a situation where Utah residents can say, I didn't know that they did that. And I think we have been not misunderstood, but I think a lot of times we don't applaud ourselves enough. We don't throw ourselves out there so that people actually do know what we do. I know through our libraries, we work with all of the libraries throughout the state to certify them. We're in the community that way, but it's not always. It's kind of hard sometimes to make sure that we get out there and let people know what we do and how we can serve them.
You're right, because there's organizations like ours and departments like ours, and I'm on the board of the Utah Cultural Alliance, which is a nonprofit organization in the state that serves the same industry essentially, or the cultural industry as a whole. And
great advocates. For us.
And that's the thing, is when you communicate the work that we do and talk to a lot of people about that, you're building a base of supporters. And because I did work with arts and museums and marketing and at the STEM Action Center in marketing for a little while. And my mission was to be able to do my job enough to the point where the state and the citizens of Utah can effectively communicate why this work is valuable to them. Right. If someone were to come up to them on the street and ask, why do you care so much about going to theater or art museums or preserving this historic site, that they can just rattle that off without hesitation. Our hope is that everybody feels that same passion and support and value for this industry. And
I hope so.
That's why we want to talk about ourselves and the work that we do and our constituents do.
Yes. And I know I left a career in television to go to work at what was then called the Utah Arts Council and is now Arts and Museums. But wow.
That's right. You did work with the Arts Council, didn't you? You worked with Laura Durham, didn't you?
I did.
Directly?
I worked with Laura Durham under Bonnie Stevens, who was just, she was a treasure.
Yeah.
It was a treasure. Anyway.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, good place to start, and what a passion. What a great group of people and passionate people who love, and so many of them are still here, like Jean Irwin.
I was just going to say, shout out to Jean Irwin, has been with Arts and Museums for quite some time and is the person to go to for anything.
Arts and education.
Yeah, education. She's a great mentor of mine and being a good human.
Too.
And I'll tell you what, Jean goes to more arts and cultural shows or experiences over one weekend than I go to in a year. So she is active in the community.
Dedicated, yep.
And supports this industry more than pretty much anybody I know.
Right.
So shout out to Jean. I think she's going to be ending employment with us in a little bit. So
I think so, and it kind of breaks my heart, but she has certainly deserves it. She's worked
every
her
bit of it.
heart out for this department. Yep, she's great. She's just great. Yep, shout out to her. Okay, so let's chat a bit about this museum situation. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's very cool. Again, career opportunity to be able to be involved. And, I'm grateful to the people that I work with to be involved in this project. The Museum of Utah, again, hopefully I'm not taking the UHS thunder or Tim's thunder here, but I'll just give an overview.
I'm sure he'll have more to say about it.
Yeah, he can go into it. Museum of Utah, it's been an idea that's been going on for dozens of years. And I think we're one of the last states in the U.S. to not have a state history museum or a dedicated state history museum.
Yeah,
a comprehensive one. So it's our turn, and I think we're doing it the right way. We're able to learn from, a lot of other people. We've been to a lot of museums, but around 2017 really was when we started this interpretive planning process, and we started having conversations with the community about what this could be, how we do it right, what we should talk about. And so for the last several years, we've been working with our exhibit designers who are based out of Fairfax, Virginia. We've gone through a multi-year exhibit design process. And so now we're actually at a really interesting and exciting point where we're going to be entering into our fabrication process, hopefully in the spring of 25 here. And then we're going to start building all the exhibits that we've actually been looking at on paper for 3 or 4 years now. And then, we're slated to open in May of 2026. So for anybody here in the state of Utah, when you drive up to the Capitol, you'll see a brand new building under construction. And that's where it'll be. We will have roughly an 18,000 square foot exhibit space on the first floor. And actually, I should say, one of the biggest reasons this building is happening is to protect our historic art and artifact collections. These collections located in the basement of the Rio Grande for several years, which we still have not been back to since the earthquake in 2020.
And the items are still there?
No, the items have been moved out of the Rio.
Good.
So
okay, great.
The Rio is essentially an empty shell right now because they're doing historic restoration to it. And the collections have been moved. They're in a safe space now. Good. But ultimately, they will be going into the lower level at the new museum or the new North Capitol building in the garden level. And so we'll have brand new collection storage installed and shelves installed in that space where everything will be housed and protected. So we're very excited for that. Great. I think that's the priority, really. And then we had a little icing on the cake, if you will, to have this space to share our story. And I'll tell you what, 17 or 18,000 square feet sounds like a lot, but to tell the full history of the state is proving to be very challenging.
I would think so. And if you've lived in this state for a while, you will have more fun going through some of the old things that you remember seeing on Main Street or State Street or somewhere in your life when you were growing up. It's great fun.
Yeah, we really believe that everyone, either who lives in the state or visits the state, will be able to find a little bit of themselves in this museum. So it's been a very tedious process to again define the stories, the artifacts, the images. But yeah, I think we're going to do it right. We're not going to get it all right, as no one ever does, but we're going to get it as pretty close to perfect as possible. Another shout out to our collections and exhibits team. One thing that we did was essentially create this content audit. So we've looked at every artifact, every bit of text, every image, artwork, whatever it might be, and identify, okay, that represents this region of the state or this community, this individual, their background. And so we've got this complete snapshot of what we're representing.
That's
and
excessive.
It's helping guide how we do this and how we do it right. So it's very exciting.
Very exciting. I'm so excited. I know Jason was asking earlier about how are there places for employment?
Yeah, so we are still hiring for the museum. I don't know how many positions exactly, but really through the moment we open in 2026, we hired our first staff member, Holly Andrew, who's our exhibits program manager, a few years ago, and then it just kicked off everything from there. We hired our museum director. We then brought in a director of collections. We've got outreach, and we'll be hiring visitor services manager, director of museum technology. So yeah, we're building everything out now and hiring the first ever staff for the Museum of Utah. I'll also say though that because the museum is within the Utah Historical Society, a lot of these staff are serving the full audience of the Historical Society. So many people are serving the museum and the public work that the Historical Society does. So very well-rounded organization that will essentially up its service to the state through these initiatives and through the Museum of Utah, which is a huge project for our department, and I think it's changing a lot of the ways in which we work.
Will the state art collection be housed there as well? I know they've moved around a little bit.
Yeah, so they'll be moving in there as well. Some of the current shelving that's in the art collection storage now at their current site will be going over, but they're also going to be getting all new shelving as well. So both collections will be well taken care of. We're going to have a conservation space. We're going to have a brand new digitization lab. So digitization is another major component of the work we do within CCE, and the majority of it done in the Historical Society and within arts and museums, but a whole space dedicated to digitizing all of these records, artifacts, images. We've got photographs, and the goal is to get it all, digitally preserved for one, but also provided for public access. So,
okay, here's a question. So I have in my possession the Osmond organ. It's a long story, but I have that. So what if I want to donate that? How does this, can we do that? Can somebody donate an item or?
You can, yeah. And we believe that when this museum opens and people realize, what we can do to preserve these historic artifacts, that more people will make that call. But you can reach out to the collections team. It does have to go through a pretty extensive process. It has to first align with
verify.
Yeah, get the provenance of it, understand the backstory, how you came to own it. And then our acquisitions team will do a review. It's a group of individuals that will look at, does this meet the mission of our collecting policy, and is it something that fills a gap within the collection that tells a unique story that we haven't been able to tell before? Do we have the resources available to take care of it and preserve it and help tell that story? So it goes through all those conversations, and then it could either come into the collection as a loan or come in as a gift or a donation.
Permanent donation.
Yeah, so people have been doing that for years, and there have been a lot of different unique artifacts that have come into our collection through that process.
Terrific. Yeah, that's great to know.
Yeah,
I'll be in touch.
With the collections team. Well, you can come through me and I'll get you the right people.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Tim on here.
There you go.
I'll bend his ear.
I think he knows some people.
Yeah, I think so. So we've got the museum coming up. What do you see as the future for our department?
Ooh, what a question. So there is another statewide initiative that's happening now, but publicly will happen next year and through 2026, which is America 250.
250.
Yeah, so there's a national gathering or national campaign. Yeah, thank you for celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation.
We're well involved.
I think all of our divisions will be to an extent.
Exactly.
Again, collaboration. I think there's a lot of resources and a lot of work that we do across divisions that can help this campaign and this initiative. So every state has their own commission. So we're America 250 Utah. Mm-hmm. And we've got a small team now, small project team that's kind of organizing what that looks like. There is a program plan that you can find on america250utah.gov. Might be america250.utah.gov.
Yeah.
Yep. You can read a little bit more about that, how your community can get involved. We do want to have various communities set up their own commission, have a dedication to America 250 and share with us what they plan on doing. Some communities are going to do parades or potentially a rodeo, or we're tossing around the idea of, local potlucks, things like that. And so there's going to be 5 or 6 different ways in which you can get involved and help celebrate the official 250 year celebration will officially be January of next year through 2026. So it'll be a statewide celebration. We're going to have a lot of great things planned. And again, I think we'll involve some of our divisions.
Libraries definitely will be involved. We have a whole project planned for libraries.
That's great.
So folks, visit your bookmobile in your library if you want to know about the 250.
Library was very involved and supportive of the flag outreach as well, where we put kits and just some educational materials about how to design your own flag, or how to have a conversation about why a flag is important. And so, yeah, huge support from the library there as well.
We have been involved with a lot of those initiatives. And will be again, and there will be collateral material you can pick up, activities you can get involved, programs, and even storytelling, which is always great fun.
Yeah. Beyond America 250, probably a little further out, the Rio Grande is and has been a part of the CCE identity for many years, and we've been out since 2020, and we probably won't get back for a few more years.
Right.
But I know there's a lot of talk about how that's going to potentially change or be a new part of that neighborhood. And so I think if we can be a part of that conversation and, make the cultural work that we do a part of that and again, be a crucial part of that neighborhood, I think that's really exciting to look forward to. I don't know. You said you were part of the Olympics 2002 with our department, and I don't know our involvement then, but I would hope that we could have a say and do some great work around celebrating the Olympics being here in 2034.
There was a great culture and arts element. Did
you volunteer?
I didn't volunteer because I worked with economic development at the business center, so that was great fun. I was moved, I should say, from arts, the arts museum, arts museum to or arts and council to economic development through the Olympics. And
gotcha.
Yeah. That was great fun. The hardest I've ever worked in 17 days. I was exhausted.
I've heard a lot of the same things. I wasn't here for the Olympics, but everything I've seen and heard, it's just
sounds like it's coming. You've got a chance.
Yeah.
We were talking about curling. I think that's the key.
Yeah. Now's the chance.
Find a sport.
We've got 9 years to get my curling skills honed in and see if we can make something happen.
What do you do? I mean, you've got this big, long title and all this work, and what do you do for fun?
Oh, I do too much for fun. My wife would agree with that statement, that's for sure. So I'm a hobbyist for sure. So my 10 years within the department had one detour where I went and worked for the Land Cruiser Heritage Museum for just under a year. And so I'm a huge outdoor enthusiast, Land Cruiser fanatic, and maybe a little close to addicted to the Land Cruiser story and the history and itself as a vehicle and a story. But there's all the recreational activities I do, golfing, hopefully curling one day.
I think so.
Bowling in the winter because I can't golf in the winter. But then I really try to keep myself active in serving on boards of other organizations. I spent many years with the Bountiful Davis Arts Center, and
now is being run by one of our former employees,
Serena Ergot. Yep. So she's over there living out her best.
Yep.
In the Bountiful Davis Arts Center, and
went up there last week and checked out the museum. That is a great exhibit.
It's a great space.
Exhibit space. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a stage as well for music performances. They do.
And a beautiful big piano.
Yeah, they do. And then I think like a ceramic studio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Where they can do classes downstairs there. So I was on that board for quite a while. Spent 10 years with the Utah Cultural Alliance. That's coming to an end this year, so that's been great. And then one thing I guess we didn't talk about at all was just kind of my intro into why I care about this work.
Oh, what do you? Yeah.
Let's go. I grew up going through school playing tuba. I'm a tuba kid, band kid. Yep. And that has truly shaped who I am today and my interest in this work. So I spent many years doing that and then toured with, if anyone here listening knows of Drum Corps International, I spent 5 years with Carolina Crown based out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, and traveled with them, performed, and learned a lot about who I was and what the arts and performing really does for you. And so I knew after that I wanted to kind of make a career out of it. I wasn't a good enough tuba player to make it playing, but...
Do you still play?
I do occasionally, but I also try to give back in a different way where I'll teach marching band. So I had to take some time off this year from it, but from 2018 through last season, I was teaching with Farmington High School and their marching band. And so, with all of those things going on, I definitely stay busy and try to keep myself moving and engaged in this work. So it's really all about people and the relationships. So
it is. And thanks for sharing your background, because I did not know that.
Yeah, tuba.
And drums.
Yeah. Well, so drum corps, it's brass and drums. So I played tuba in that. Yeah. So it's essentially a professional marching band league, if you will. Very rigorous, very physically demanding. You know, at that point, you can only do it until you're 21.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I was doing it from age 16 to 21, on the road every summer, you know, with 149 other individuals between the ages of 16 and 21. And you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about how, you know, time management, how to pack your stuff up and get on the road. And like, so
in parades and what else?
We would do some parades, but it was competitive. So we would have, 20 some odd performances around the country. So there were roughly 20 different organizations. They're all independent, nonprofit organizations. They hold auditions, and then they go out on the road and they compete against each other. And there's a body of judges. And so it was a competitive thing. And you tour from June, July through August, oftentimes starting in May to start learning your show and putting that together. And then you hit the road and you go compete for 3 or 4 months and then take the winter off and go do it again next summer. So
fun though.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots of meeting a lot of cool people and going great places.
Have people, great friends all over the country who we all come together and do that, and we shared that experience together. So wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Are your kids into music? Yeah,
they are. I have two young girls, and one we did kinder music, and she really enjoyed that. But they love performing. They also love dancing. Right now they're into hip hop dancing and jazz dancing. But yeah, I want to get them into, something in the arts.
So good.
Just kind of depends on what they want to do. I'd love for them to pick up a tuba one day.
Oh.
But I'm not going to push that too hard. But yeah, they're definitely into all of that, and maybe get them into ice skating. Big hockey fan. So
great sport.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This has been great. Now we know all about you and what you do. And I appreciate you coming to visit with us, and come back anytime.
Thank you.
Bring friends.
I will. Yeah, I'll get more people for you for sure.
Please do it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.